Good afternoon to one and all, and welcome back to the LPGA Tour of Korea, where we are live at the Kaya Country Club for the second round of the Nexen SaintNine Masters 2023, the 10-year anniversary of this event in a three-round format in this 2023 season. Just a beautiful day out on course here in the lovely Gyeongsang-do province, with 800 million won up for grabs in the purse this week. 144 of that set aside for the winner. And the leader as we pick up around the midway mark of this moving day Saturday is Iso Mi. She is in the clubhouse with a round of 68, going one better than her round yesterday of 3 under par. She has a one-shot advantage over Kim Soo-ji. Many of the players who are in the hunt are either finished their rounds or they had teed off on hole number 10, and we'll have about 8 to play as we begin our day with Park Hyung-kyung here on the 5th hole. It has just not been her week thus far. She will be in a battle to try and get herself inside of the cut line, which is currently set at +4. There are 62 players of our 120 player fields who are in fact inside at +3 or lower. We see a 2-putt effort from Park Hyung-kyung as we continue to jet around this course, and we'll go to 6 with the rookie Kim Min-bi. This had been a putt for par that scoots well beyond the hole. Yesterday was a 68 4 under. She was in fantastic position to start the day in a share of the lead, in a share for P2 with fellow rookie Hung Yoo-min. The 18-hole leader had been Chung Yeon-ju, but she had a miserable day, to be quite honest. +577, has herself in a tie for 18th position. Speaking of difficult weeks in progress, EA1, the sophomore, unfortunately was not able to string many birdies along yesterday. It had been the putter that was letting her down. +4 is where she finishes, and that means for a winner from 2023, she is done. Goes even today. +4 is outside the cut line. It would take some kind of drastic plummet from those players in that tie for 46 at the moment to bring EA1 back into it tomorrow. Speaking of winners this season, Park Ji-young stretching out of her groupmate's line to tap in for a par. She is hovering in the danger zone as well at +3. So certainly someone we will keep a very close eye on over the course of the day. Kim Min-bi does have her drop. She goes over par for the day through now 7 holes. This is Lee Jung-min, who was able to get back into the win column towards the end of 2022, taking home the PLK Pacific Links Championship with SBS Golf. We just witnessed her 74th shot of the day. She finishes 2 over for this Saturday, 1 over on the aggregate. And Lee Joo-mi, as we check in on everyone who has taken the top step on the podium. And unfortunately, there are very few who are in the hunt. Lee Joo-mi currently down in a tie for 80th position. Still early, she still has the time to make up the ground that she needs to make the cut. But it's going to take some birdies Even yesterday it had been playing very difficult, this Kaya Country Club. But as it currently stands, only 17 of the 120 are under par. Ijumi rolls in her second effort. We've had a couple of withdrawals from the 120. Nahi 1 and Kerry Park both having withdrawn. We have Chanana, who is completing rounds, but nowhere near the level with which we are used to seeing. An 82 yesterday, an 83 today, plus 21 is the highest of those who have not called it quits, including the rookie Chung So Lin. She prepares to tee off on the par 3. Park Yang does not have any more strokes to lose on the way in. 75 yesterday. She is even through 5 today. She's probably taking just an extra second here to get the memories of yesterday out the way. She had shot a double bogey on this par 3. Unable to find the green, but I guess if there's solace, it's the fact that she's still in play. Over to 8 with Yimi Jung. Level with Park Yang-gyung's score at the moment. Her approach up on 6. Up on 8, excuse me. Towards the back left of the green. The pin 13 yards from the back today. Doesn't detract much from the star power in this group, but surely when they put this trio together, they would have been thinking there'd be at least a challenger. Gets interesting with the wrist for Ijumi, and she's almost all the way up onto the left green here. If you didn't join us yesterday, first of all, welcome. You're very welcome. But something you will notice is this Kaya Country Club implementing the 2 green system. We are playing the right green on each of the 18 holes, whether it's the Sinio or Nagdong course. Can be a little bit jarring, no doubt, if it's the first time that you're seeing it. But it is strategy that requires some land for starters, but it also is becoming increasingly common. The 2 different types of grass used. One that's able to withstand some of the cooler temps at the beginning and end of the golfing seasons. And the other that thrives in the summertime sun and heat. Park Ji-young is up on the green. She has the best tee shot of Park Yang-gyung and Ijumi. It is a 6,216 meter par 72 club. Look through some of the players that have won this event in the past, last season. And it had been Yuhei Ren. So we go to 7, Kim Min-byul. It's a very tricky lie. The ball drastically beneath her feet at 7. Catches it well and goes just beyond hole high. to 9, Hung Yu Min. Was looking for a birdie, currently at 1 under. Her +3 is only topped by Park Ji-young and fellow top performer yesterday, Chung Yeon-ju. And now the birdie putt for Imi Jung. Had been dropping pretty rapidly and no recovery. So she'll settle for a par. Well, our only birdie today came on hole number 1. She has not been putting with confidence. Generally, the pins are the exact opposite of where they had been in the first round. That shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But if it was back left today, it's right side, definitely shallower. And any reads and notes that were required in round 1 are not going to be overly helpful today. Ijumi from nearly the fringe on the left green is going to only just stay on here. This thing she wants to face is yet another bogey. She needs some birds, at least 2 of them, if she is to qualify for tomorrow's final round. And that's the kind of putt that we're after from her. Jae Reem to move back inside the cut line. You can see 2 doubles, 2 bogeys, and finally a birdie. She was 2 under yesterday, but +6 up until that birdie. Kim Min-byul does very well to salvage a par. Certainly not the normal or routine way of playing here. And it had been pretty well any other day for Park Ji-young until she had a massive blow up just a couple of holes ago on number 4. Slowly marching her way back, and that will feel like a hole in one. Tucks that against the pin. You can see 4 over she went on the par 4 fourth. And you get a moment like that and you go, okay, maybe I am good at this game after all. It's easy to forget. You look at her shot for shot at the 4th, 224-yard drive. From there to the back right, missing entirely into the rough. A 2-yard stroke. Penalty, 2 yards again before able to get up onto the fringe. And 2 putts to see 8. And Ijumi. Not gonna happen. So that bogey will take her even further down the standings, and she is definitely at the risk of failing to qualify for tomorrow's final round. Pretty remarkable as you look above the cut line in terms of the scores. You're seeing a lot of players still out there. It's paying to have teed off earlier this morning. Another super blustery day. And rolling to a stop up the hill. She had designed and executed that drive well. Some right to left to follow the curvature of this hole. So you get a dramatic birdie, a bizarre bogey, and then just a simple, uneventful two-putt par for Pak Young. Here is the leaderboard. Mentioned earlier, Lee So-mi sits at the top after her round of 68. Kim Soo-ji had done the same to move up to 6 under par. And we're going to be following very closely the round of Ko Chi-yu, who had been even after the opening round, but a great front nine with 4 birdies. She's 3 back with 9 holes to play. Might she just be able to reach that 7 under mark from Lee So-mi? And again, the cut line at the moment, projected cut is +4. We're going to settle in and get ready for a busy day here at Kayak Country Club. Lots of action to be had on this moving day Saturday. Welcome back to Kaya. Approach shot on the par 4 7th from Ijumi. That is much closer to a flashback from her excursions last week as she drops that in within about 7 feet, close to hole high. Let's see if Kim Min-byul can follow suit. High lofted approach at 3 under par and desperate need of some birdies. It's a little bit shallow. You can see the flag flapping with enough pace to show you that there was a tailwind there. Easy to overestimate, or even on the other side of that coin undercorrect, and it appears that she had done the latter. Park Young is inside of 100 meters. Looking for the pin off to the right side of this green, and she went right at it and delivered a beauty. On 9, Imi Jung with a wood shot that is narrowly going to miss the green. She has a nice cut across. And Bak Ji-young, after her birdie, can she turn that into some positive momentum? She joins Bak Young just a pace or two away. 3 fantastic approach shots from our featured group. From the fringe at 8, Hong Jung-min needing at least 3 birdies in the next 10 holes to have a chance. The audible oohs and ahs as she burned by the left edge and kept on rolling. .127 meters out from the fairway on the par 5 9th for An Sun-ju. Also needing to gain a stroke. She's up with about 12 meters to come back to the right side. A bogey set her back even further on number 6, and now a downhill putt to get that stroke back. Just a little tap. Not even a second thought of just trying to finish that off quickly. She leaves herself with enough that she has to mark off. It's 3.4 meters and uphill for Bak Ji-young. Snap left. It starts, but without the speed to get it to the hole. Two-putt par. Kim Biel. 4 back. She can move within 3. It's going to take a worldie. It's looking like it's got a chance. Just slows up at the end. Well, much needed birdie. Let's inject some life back into the round. The first of the day for Pak Yang Kyung, who had been par perfect prior to that effort on 6. And Amy Jung, she is making quick work of this par 5. 3 fantastic shots to get up onto the green. This would have been a great shot had we been playing the left greens. Back down. Now the speed to get there. How close is she going to get? That's about 6 feet out. Beautiful sunny day, 17 degrees. The wind a steady 4 meters per second, and no rain in the forecast today or tomorrow. Mentioned it yesterday, worth repeating. It's a good thing we won't be playing on Tuesday. 50 millimeters of rain forecasted for midweek. It's a good drive for Pak Yang Kyung as she tries to build off of that birdie at the last. Another big blast. This one finds the left side of that wide open fairway. Now and Sunju on 9. No, we're just going to leave that close. Good attempt with plenty of late break on that putt. Just a short 6-footer downhill, but offline. Day of frustration continues for Hung Yubin. +3 at the turn. And just bogeying to drop once again back to even. Thimi Jung, after working so hard, executing so well, she'll be disappointed to be leaving this par 5 without having gained any ground on the leaderboard. Currently, finds herself just one shot above the cut line, as you can see, projected right now at +3. 7 under the score to beat. Not many players pushing inside of that top 5. Kim Min Biol on the slide. Hong Ji-won nearing the turn, as is Ko Chi-yu. They would be the most likely protagonists in this second round. More from Kaya Country Club when we return. We find Bak Young centrally located on this 8th fairway. Her approach shot up on the par 4. Skirts the right edge, rolls towards the back, and that will leave quite the escapade that she will have to return to today's pin placement. Kim Bial, her second, as she just looks for grip and rip to take out some more of the fairway, and does just that. With the wind very much at her back, if anything. Back towards the left side of the green. Park Ji-young goes up. Now it needs to stop. A final ingredient in that recipe for a birdie. Patch of rough between fairway and green, up to within a foot or two. It's a very tough turn to make here at Kaya, with the par 5 to end the front 9 and begin the back 9. Well over a kilometer to traverse for just 2 holes. What is one of my favorite courses of the calendar year. This facility is, you can almost call it a compound with 6 different courses. 54 holes, 45 of which are members only. 9 for the general public, but it is hole after hole of brilliant design. Just nestled up in the mountains here above the city. Kim Hae, 7 under. It's becoming all the more impressive the more we see players struggling with control in these second round placements. When Yuhei Ran won it last year, she finished at 18 under par. Now, mind you, it was 4 rounds in 2022, but nevertheless, she was going low day after day. Ijumi just on 13.5 meters back towards the center. Left quite a bit off of it. Was a birdie here yesterday for Kim Hae Rim at 10. Gonna take quite the putt to replicate that, but it's got a shot. Oh. It seemed to have been right at it all the way through. Narrow miss to the outside edge, so she'll tap in for a par. Young from the back right at 8 as the wind dies down on this par 4. It's inching ever closer. Absolutely brilliant putt, but unfortunately, nothing to show for it. Last week, that final round push she had made, it just unfortunately come up a little bit short. The event had basically been done and dusted for Ijumi, despite birdie for Park Young at the last. Finished 2 strokes back. Kim Biel went 8 under in the opening round, but couldn't find her consistent birdies the rest of the way. This week she is back in the top 5, but that birdie phobia in the second round has seemingly returned. It's likely going to take 6 holes at the minimum for Bak Jiang to undo the damage from number 4 today. Had her birdie at the last from a similar yardage to the putt she just struck, but no magic this time around. Hoda Bean trying to save a par 10. Not a putt that should have ever given her any headaches. Keeps herself 2 strokes in the clear. Eddie Jumi. Okay, that's more like it. The difference in feeling and confidence when she goes at the pins and has the approach game firing is obviously very evident. Kim Biel on 9 short. So 2-putt par, and it is a 37 on the way out for the rookie. Speaking of, Hung Yumin at 11. She has dropped back down to even, tied for 17th. Relative to her colleagues there, still a long ways off. She played the last par 5 expertly. Imi Jung just missed her birdie at the end. She's going to stop on the fringe with a look at eagle. Certainly the par 5's a whole lot less daunting when you have the power that Imi Jung has in the bag. Cha Yuno, a 71 today. She's level with Kim Biel. Pei So Yun through with a 69. Brilliant round from Chung In Soo with a 67 on this moving day. Lee So Young, she was asking some questions in round 1. She goes 1 under today. Kim Chae Hee with a 68 to get back up to even. Other side of that spectrum, Hung Yumin and Chung Yun Ju, +5 and +4 respectively, hovering around even par in this second of 3 rounds of the Nexen SaintNine Masters. Beautiful scenic backdrop of the Kaya Country Club. We say welcome back as we near the top of the clock, 2:51 local time. Generally leaving yourself with a 3-footer is a disappointing moment, but on a par 5, it basically guarantees a bird. Speaking of birdies, Hung Yu-min 3 paces on from the front of this green as she stares down 9 meters of grass between she and the hole. She went at it with maybe a little bit less speed. Might have been a touch more forgiving. Young at 9, kicking up the sand and the dust as she cuts back across to the left side of this fairway. And Sunju, her first birdie of the day, comes at 10. So she is safe for now, but we'll be hoping to find a few more on the way in. Next up at 9, Bak Jiyoung. Contact sounds good. She scampers over back to the fairway to see over the hill. Thought for a second she might be able to carry that all the way to the green, but comes up just a touch short. And look at that, right at the flag. Nearly our first big-time eagle of the day. Changshu as the only one so far this week. A 3 on the par 5. Ju had a 2 on the par 4, 12th. That is coming up soon for our featured groups. There are some words for that for Imi Jung, but none that she'll want to hear. Because she went from a slight chance for an eagle to a near certain birdie to no dice. Young dropping that down onto the green, but a ways out. It's not often very difficult to see through her and figure out what's running through her mind. She wears her emotions on her sleeve. And doing her one better, Ijumi. Continued the upward trajectory, each one-upping the other from Bak Young to Ijumi, and now Bak Ji-young to about 5 feet away. Kimerima done the toughest part of her hole hunting from the fairway. Her third birdie of the day. She is finally back to even par. Tailing around, it's going to go out of seemingly nothing for Bak Young. What should have been a run-of-the-mill putt to set up a par is anything but. Excellently played. And there's the smile that we've yet to see through an hour. And why not? There's nothing better than that moment of realization that there's a chance that it's on here. Even better than a chance, it was all the way in. Well, it was a lesson that took Ijumi nearly a decade to learn how to stay consistent for the entirety of a tournament. EA1 learned it last year, and Hung Yu-min is getting another crash course in it this week after her brilliant first round. The birdies just have not followed her into round number 2. Kim Min-byul hasn't had one since the first hole of the day. Here is her second shot on the par 5. A big kick through the fairway and will stop just short of the green. Bak Jiang, it's certainly less dramatic than Bak Yang-young's had been, but she does finish with another birdie before making the turn. Out with a 39 thanks to the quad at 4. Feels like we're starting to heat up just a little bit. Now we'll be up to the putter again. Avim Hee-jung. Jumi out with 39, a birdie free opening round with 3 bogeys, especially early. Playing a lot of par golf since. Taking a look at the par 5, 10th, 515 meters. You can see that significant change in elevation from the teeing ground of 30 meters. 235 meters on the right side of the fairway is the end of the fairway bunker with that stretch of grass in between it. It would take some kind of fluke to hit and stay in that section. From there, it is a mostly straight, although significantly wavy fairway all the way down towards the front of this green. 65 to 85 meters is the average distance for the pitch up to the green, with the pin placement today, of course, on the right hole, 17 yards from the back, 10 yards from the right, pretty close to the center of this putting surface. Patrons flocking to follow the featured groups in and around the clubhouse here just before the back nine commences. Also waiting for our competitors to arrive at the tee. That's a good vantage point of the quite significant drop of 30 meters. While we wait for them to make it to the tee at 10, let's go to the 10th green. Kim Min-biao looking for an eagle and stopping just short. She is working her way back to even. She has done a good job through 9 holes, Park Young of shifting the focus from making the cut to pushing back towards the top 20. That will feel like a huge sigh of relief for Amy Jung after not being able to capitalize at the last. That is a very busy scorecard with just 2 pars through now 11 holes. Min-biao is always going to have it. Just 3 shots back. And she starts the front 9 with the birdie. She does the same on the back. She will be hoping for more than just that on the way in. Well, it's still going to take a fantastic finish for Kim Min-biao, but she resets that compass as she gets her birdie to start the back 9 and is just 3 shots off Lee So-mi for the lead. Currently in a tie with Chae Eun-oh. Kim Soo-ji sits in second position at 6 under par. And at the moment, 28 players even par or lower. From the cut line, well, we have 78 at the moment, so we might even be pushing that up from +4 to +3. Lots still to be decided. Early days in this second round. More from the Kaya Country Club after a short break. Park Jiang playing her second shot here at the par 5. Another instance where there was that momentary belief that maybe she was going to make it all the way down to the green. Kim Min-byul, she will have the eyes and ears of the many at the course and those of us following from around the world on her as she tries to complete this second round push to get back into contention. Something of an anonymous contestant for the longest time, but cranking it up with a brilliant start to her back nine. Despite willing it the rest of the way, it's just going to stop up slightly short for Park Young. No such problems as coming up short. In fact, it has the opposite. Will roll not just onto the green, but all the way off of the back of it. It's a 33-yard green, one of the longer ones on the course, and even that wasn't enough runway. Sunju, another one of the recent players with a birdie on the scorecard. She is hovering around the cut line. 136 as she makes this approach at 12. Bill now with just 93 meters to go. Rides the left side of this green. Tails in and will lead her with a lengthy putt for birdie. Park Jiang is next. near the carry she needed to get close to a birdie. She shortchanged that by quite some margin. Amy Jung from the backside of the green to about 7 feet away. That's coming awfully close. It's a great effort with the wedge from Bak Yang. Starting to strut with a little bit more confidence. From the back of the green. An uphill putt. It's going to lose a lot of its speed as it traverses the slope. Here we find Ijumi all the way on the opposite side of the green. +6 as she tries to run this up and set up a birdie, but this has been by far the biggest weakness of her game today. Just not being able to manipulate the ball from in and around the greens. It's costing her quite a few strokes. Frustrated as she looks skywards. None of the issues that we're seeing from her this week had persisted in any real fashion at the Medihilang Gugobo Championship. Kimin Biao. This has got to speed up. This has got to speed up. Close but not quite on the line. Jiang. This is her putt for birdie to get back to even. There it starts. There it starts. Oh. That was 99% of the way to perfection. Had begun to head back, but alas, she will stay at +1 for at least one more hole. Three and a half for Kime Reem. Similar position where she can get back to even. And she's able to accomplish the feat. It's a day that has seen 4 birdies and 2 bogeys. Within 7 of the lead now. It's coming back. He Jumi is trying to save a par. Just simply not good enough from off the green, and the fact that she was in that position in the first place is to her own detriment. It's another hole where the birdie eludes. Hong Jung-min through 11 now. Got to make up 2 strokes. Amy Jung, 2 less of the fanfare. Bak Young. Can she get back to even? No, she misses a 4-footer. The kind of miss, the kind of putt that cost her a realistic shot at the win last week. And those troubles are just lingering once again into this ever important setup day. I'm rightfully frustrated with the result. 11 is next at 387 meters. It is the longest par 4 on the course. 20 meters down the hill. With that rather significant drop, it will play a little bit shorter than that 387. Dog leg to the left with bunkers on either side of the fairway, left and right as it bends. And then 2 around our green on the right side with the pin today. Much closer to the front than it had been yesterday. Yesterday we were 15 yards deep. Today it is just 9. Closer to the left than the right as well. Starts left and down, sloping back on line. Be about 10 feet to make up for the birdie. Just the sweet sound off the face for Bak Jiyoung. It's down left by the cart path, but it stays in. Looking for the control with the next shot. Kim Min-byul within 3 and 7 holes still to play. Coach Yu has cooled off a little bit. She had been up on the front page for a minute. Pacquiao also with that same 1 under for the round and the day score through 3 on her back 9. Kim Chae-hee, that's 68, very impressive round. Hung Yu-min, still no birdies since falling to +4 on this Saturday. Lee Jung-min, we saw her finish her round earlier. She finishes at +2 in this second round. Great to have you along with us on this Saturday afternoon at the Kaya Country Club. Kim Hae-shi, the beautiful southwest part of the country. It's 106 meters out for Kimi and Bial. She was dead center of the fairway with plenty of green to work with, but she only uses the front of it. A little shallow on that approach. Next to play and going downhill is Pak Young Young. After being disappointed to not leave the 10th hole with her birdie, tries to compartmentalize and plays a great approach shot up. Number 11 here has churned out a fair few birdies today. Pak Jiang looking to add her name to that list. And she too is on, but not anywhere really near the flag, deeper by about 10 yards. An Sunju for birdie. Downhill, marking its way to the left. Oh, catches a piece, but not enough to go down. You could see her caddy found a little bit more comedy in it than she did. All the way there, okay. Nicely played would be an understatement for Kime Reem, who has 3 birdies in her last 4 holes. And from the brinks of obscurity after 18, she has battled her way back to get to 3 under. Just underscores how impressive it has been for Iso Mi this week thus far. And the next of the downhill attempts, similar to where An Sunju had started her putt, and also by fractions of a centimeter, is not to be. A tap to finish. .4 meters, carrying too much speed. I think even just one more birdie between now and the finish and she would feel like she'd be in with a very realistic shot of contending again in a final round. Currently in sole possession of 3rd to Iju Mi. She has to stop this closer. She struggled with these from off the green. No such struggles here. Still a little bit more past the hole than she would have wanted to be, but 6 feet is a lot more workable than 16 like she's been the last few trips around these greens. And Yimi Jung, again, a whisker away. just stuck in a rut right now is Park Young. That in. Expert control on the par 3 13th. Park Ji-young has some shocked reactions from the crowd, as many believe that was on. Perfect 2 for 2. At 145 meters, this 13th is easily the most manageable. And Yujumi, this to save par narrowly, but gets it to go. Well, she was the last to take the tee shot at number 3. Rolling all the way to the left and working its way back down towards the middle. At the 12th here on the slope of the mountain with 2 fairways off to the right, 2 bunkers to the right of the fairway. 135 to 115 meters is the average remaining distance after the tee shots, and then from there, straight shot up, looking at the right green where there is a pin placement today. That is 15 yards from the back, 8 yards from the left. Zoom on down, show you the slopes, pushing towards the middle if you reach the back, but that's not a factor today unless you are exceptionally long on the approach shot. Swinging a blast from Park Young to get it started. She is still 2 under for the day, but she will be rueing a few misses. A bogey-free scorecard thus far after having 4 yesterday, including a double bogey. She continues to pepper the ball around, averaging 247 yards off the tee with driver. Bak Jiang shaking it out and nearly got herself buried in the long grass left of the fairway. She gets a helpful roll back down. That would have been rather perilous without it. Jay Ream would have given her a bit more comfort as she's teetering on the verge of missing the cut. But unable to find that birdie. It's been a run of 2 or 3 holes now at this point where the birdies remain elusive. Not the position Hong Jung-min would like to find herself in. Still with just 1 birdie today. That was back at 9. Kim Min-byul, left to right, brilliantly online. Everything about that putt was in fact right. Second birdie of the back 9, or third of the day. She is within 2 of Lee So-mi at the top, and still with some holes to try and reel her in further. Bak Jiang, despite not being able to see the green, recovers well. It's more of a hike out of that stretch of fairway than anything. And Imi Jung. No birdies once again. Still even for the day after shooting a 2 over par round. It's been a much simpler back 9 since she started, and I will go in unison. Bogey, bogey, birdie, birdie, bogey, bogey, birdie. before finally getting back to a par. Her first par of the day was at the 8th. Well, that is a beautiful up. Doesn't matter how good of an approach it is, however, for Park Young if she is unable to capitalize with the putter. That is the next step, in the evolution of her round. And Sunju. Oh, look at Birdie. How close she came at the last. Can she get it online this time? Yes, no drama. Well, it's starting to look a whole lot more tight at the top. Kim Min-byul only 1 under for the day, but after her brilliant round of 68 yesterday, it's enough to move her within 2 strokes. It has been a very difficult course to try and tame today. Don't tell that to Kime Reem, who is 3 under through 14 out of 1 under aggregate. For the down, Coach Yu, EJ Young, they are both at even. Jihan Sol leads the list of those narrowly outside of that even par mark. More from the Gaia Country Club as our coverage of the second round of the Nexen SaintNine Masters 2023 will resume after a short pause. Time is beginning to run out on Ijumi. It would be quite the departure from her first career win to missing the cut, but that is what she is on pace for if there are not at least 2 birdies on the march into the clubhouse. Still plenty of time to get there, but she's going to have to turn something around. As we move on to 16, Hung Yumin with her left leg bent out of the sand and her right foot buried. She is unable to make it the rest of the way up onto the green. Young catches the edge and kicks away from her birdie. That is how you play an approach to the inch. Could only have been better for Hung Jung-min if she had dunked it into the hole. That reaction says it all for Park Yang-young. She's not out of it, but it seems like she's not in it either today, despite one of the better rounds of 2 under par in progress. She just knows that she could be holding the best round of the lot that currently belongs to Chanun Su. And you get one approach that is centimeters away, and then you have the most informed player on the course coming up short. The first shot we see today with the fluorescent yellow ball from the other side of the left green. It's a good way to get back, and mindful of the extended time she spent away from the green, she hustles over to mark the ball and work away. She's been not quite hobbling, but something doesn't quite look right for Park Ji-young. Yumin still working closer, but losing her grip on the exceptional round that she had put together yesterday. Dropped in expertly on the par 3. Keeping herself even keeled despite the putting woes today. Look at this effort, up onto 15, just a few feet shy of an eagle. Reem for birdie. Good for her. Hovering around that cut line, but giving herself a little bit more breathing room. It's otherwise been mostly a day to forget for her as we see Mi Jung make her approach. Up and left, just inside of the fringe. Jungmin, that'll feel good to get to +5. You can see it had been some time. Just her second birdie of the day. Well, a putt that should have had no drama to it whatsoever. Somehow ends up costing Kim Min-gyal a stroke. It was only a few moments at 5 under par. She drops back to even for the day with 4 holes to play. Let's go back to 13. Park Ji-young, the long way back, just stops short. His entire disbelief. Onto the green and a little backspin to bring it ever closer. Very well worked. knowing it was offline. Jimmy stands up, almost abandoning that putt. So Jean, well, she went for it to set that short birdie putt up. Leads to an eventful putt for birdie. Those are the best kinds of birdies, because you're not stressed about them and you get to savor it even longer. Another shot, Park Young to get to even. Third birdie of the day. It has been a slow march that has been full of near misses. Showing off her fantastic driving and approach shots once again. Into the home stretch. A run of 5 holes to the finish line, including 3 par 4s. The first of 2 in a row is right here at 14. 371 meters up, the sharp climb from the tee. A drive that should leave, on average, 135 to 155 meters to the front of the green. And as you summit that little hill, the greens come into view. A bunker defending each, one on the left, one on the right. The much smaller green is where we are headed today, and the pin is onto the left side towards that fast-moving arrow, that left null at the front. You have to wonder if that birdie unburdens Park Young a little bit here. Currently tied for 19th. She's got lots of golf still to be played today. Even 2 birdies would move her into a tie for the top 5. She's going to use the extreme width of the fairway, but stay within it. Slightly off the line. It requires a second putt for Kime Reem. She is just outside of that top 10. Great round of 3 under in progress. Reem up onto the green, but only just as we go to 16. Hoda Bean should get to +1, and does. Two birdies in the last 3 after going 13 holes without one all day long. On to 16 with Ansun Ju. And look at that. Pin seeking, she goes. Rolls to a stop just a few feet past the flag. Park Ji-young addresses as she prepares her approach on 14. Was on for an eagle for a second. That's a great approach shot nevertheless. It's nicely on for Im Hee-jung. Playing her final par 5 of the day here at 16. She comes up short, Izumi, and at this point, it's feeling like it'll be the end of the road for her when she makes it to 18, at least this week. I think you're allowed, certainly, to have a slow follow-up to a big win. That's precisely what it was last week. Two players in the group, Park Ji-young, Park Hyun-kyung, who have gone about 7 feet past the hole. And the other member coming up short as we go on to the green. Hear the roar of frustration of how close she had come. But it is a par for Im Hee-jung. Now Che Reem from the front of the green. Needed to start that a touch more to her right. 2 putts for the par. As we go to 15. Well, she had just lost out on 5 under. Chance to get back. She had birdied here yesterday, but overhits this one. Have to settle for a par. So Jew also a 2-putt par. Park Yang, she's on the fence. She knew with a little bit more speed, would have been back-to-back birdies. Dropped on about hole high. On the green, Park Ji-young to get to even par. Another one. It's almost unimaginable. That is 2 in a row now where she has just hovered over the edge, but she is still stuck over par as a result. This is 15. Another uphill hole from the teeing grounds. Opening up after the narrow passage of trees into the fairway. Significantly shorter than its predecessor on 14, but 115 meters up on average. Another bunker to the right of the right green, and the pit placement today is almost the middle of the depth and 9 yards from the right side. Oh, the dip at the end looked like it had been on. Well, the next tee shot also finding the fairway. That belongs to Pak Young Young. Pak Young the last to play, and she is away. Kim Min-byul, full of power and pace. It's just to the left of the fairway with a pretty good look. She's not going to have much of a landing spot, however, if she's to try and keep it near side of the flag. She is back down to 3 off the pace after her bogey a couple of holes ago. 3 off the lead. She is the closest to the top of any active player out there. Kim Reem, 3 under for the day through 16 holes. Coach Yu, Lee Ji-young, and Pak Gyal with a few holes remaining, having begun their day on the 10th tee. Lee Jae-eun still has 8 holes to play. She is at 2 under for the day, 1 under for the round. The projected cut line at the moment is +4. Well, you're nearly through 2.5 hours of our coverage of Moving Day. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a short minute. We are live from the Country Club. The second of 3 rounds of the Nexen SaintNine Masters. Pak Young as one of the top performers of the day, though she'll tell you she should be even lower in terms of her score, which is currently just at even par. Her approach onto the green leaves her with about 15 feet of work to do. As we fast forward to Hong Jung-min battling to make the cut. 61 meters out on the par 5, just a short wedge. It is expertly played and will leave her with a very makeable birdie. Inching its way closer towards the flag on 15. You can see Pak Jung is really struggling just to deal with the length and the up and down nature of this course. Che Reem following her group mates onto the green. And now Kim Min Bial. Methodical, if not slightly over-exaggerated swing, as she is on in that aforementioned narrow landing zone, but no further from there. Only on the green for the moment. No doubt the wind playing a factor in that for Kim Reem. Pak Young just seems to be in a state of constant disbelief. It's another putt that was 99% of the way to perfection. Let's watch her reaction again. How many times today? Kim Min Bial knew from go that it wasn't going to go all the way. To find the bottom of the cup, it takes 2 putts. Just about everybody here. And seeing a bit of disappointment. Birdies are proving to be an increasingly tough commodity. Jay Ream seemingly did not get that memo as she finds another. I have to wonder where her day might be without those early round significant struggles. Through 5 holes today, she wound up 6 over, and it's just been a battle to get back after a 70 in the opener. Kime Ream as we go back to 18, just a little loft to within 3 feet or so. Just not able to recapture the fighting spirit of last week, Ijumi. As Kime Ream has what she will hope to be her final putt of the day. It is 143 strokes through 36 holes. A very, very solid round today. A couple of bogeys dotted along, mostly birdies and par golf. Jungmin, at least for now, finds herself inside the cut line, getting to +4. That is her 3rd birdie since the 9th. She is back to a full even par.
플레이하겠습니다. 점점 멈춰주세요.
Tee shot for Buck Jiang once again, finding itself comfortably in the fairway. See, it is a very wide area just to the right of the green, leading towards the water, and Hong Jung-min goes way closer to it than she would have imagined. Checks the wind. See, maybe that was the root cause. Jay Ream gets up with about 10 feet still to play. She is down to 2 holes. Try and work her way closer to Kim Soo-ji. She is well left of the green off the tee. Nobody seemingly finding any joy here. It's one of those yardages for a par 3 that can really cause some trouble at 162 meters. We'll go back to the next shots there momentarily, but in the meantime, we witness the near miss to get up onto the green for Mimi Jung, pushed off by the wind. So it takes some kind of shot for Kim Min-byul to have her birdie at the penultimate hole, so she'll have to shift her focus to 18 after, of course, finding what should be a par with the way she has putted the last half an hour or so. Cho Ae-yeon, she's up to 2 under, both for the day and for the event inside of that top 10. Im Ji-ni, 1 under through 10 holes of this second round. We rejoin Bak Jiang at 16. She plays a good faded shot with the wood to set up the approach. She's got about 30 more minutes to try and grind through. Let's go back to 17. Well off, 29 meters to the hole and 2.5 meters below it. Comes up and would have ideally loved to catch a piece of that fringe, but it's still a pretty great shot considering where she had been. Now Pak Young does the same on 16. A bit more to the right than her group mates, but still a clean look at the hole. Whoa is the shout. For that ball to stop. Jay Reams caddy willing the ball to stay to the right. It just fades about a foot away. To the cap as she rolls in that short par. There's one hole to play. 18 will be next for her in the group, as that is where we find An Sun Ju. Will this be her last stroke of the day, and will it be a birdie? Starts to the right now. Not quite online. So it is the end of the day with a par. An Sun Ju with a much better round of 70 today, up 33 spots from where she had started the day. Kim Min Biol. Can she hang on long enough? She can. Bit of an odd one as she had a short hook off the tee into the fairway, but recovers to get up and down to keep herself in sole possession of third. And now approach time. Pak Young is the first. She gets up and she really advances no further from where she had arrived. Slight headwind right at Pak Jiang, maybe a little left to right. She sails beyond. See how variable it is. It starts one way, moves on to the other. She's jogging her way down towards the green as we once again look up into the mountainside. the final of 3 opportunities for birdie in the round for Park Ji-young as she looks to move back to even and get some much needed rest and recuperation tonight before tomorrow's final round. It is a fine effort, but fine is not going to change that score. Nicely done from Im Hee-jung. And a nice smile as she ends her day with a par. That is a much more low event back 9. And as she says goodbye to this Friday, she sits tied for 37th inside of the top 40 as we go back to 16. A firmly struck downhill putt for Park Young. She seemed to know she was going to be short before everyone else did. And you would need 2 hands to count how many times she has come within a foot of a birdie today. So Jean, despite that bogey at 17, not a bad day at the office, but unfortunately for her, that'll be close but not quite there, paying for one last hole where she just was not able to maintain the approaches back at 17. She's playing with the enjoyment now that accompanies how it feels to be in the exclusive club of winners here as we go through some of the earlier round highlights. This is Lee So-mi early in the day and bouncing from the fringe to nearly an eagle. She would continue the birdies. They were fast and furious and showing no signs of slowing down. That was late in her back 9. And one of the most impressive putts of the day from about 20 feet out. Kim Soo-ji, who at that point was able to get to 6 under. Starting to deviate from its path, but hanging on just enough to ensure that it would go back to back. And at that point, her 6th birdie of the day, 7 under. Be a short-lived score. There'll be one last drop before the end, but almost no mistakes to pick up as we now look through Kim Min-byul, who started the round with a birdie, and at that point you're thinking, okay, well, she had shot a 68 yesterday, just 1 off the lead. Surely she would work her way towards the top, if not build something of a comfortable lead, but it wouldn't be the case, as there would be some troubles in the round. Han Yu-min also starting on a little bit of a cold spell. On a day that would see more bogeys than she was even able to muster birdies yesterday. She had only found 2 altogether in the first round, but here, just couldn't replicate it. Couldn't say the same for Kim Soo-ji. After dropping at 5, she would move right back up to that 6 under score, which is where she would finish with a 68 today. Lee So-mi now, at this point, had been in a tie for the lead, but showing off her control, pulling it back on a string at 9. And then for birdie, look how she just has to touch it with how much of a downhill and left to right breaking putt it would be, and she holes out. And since that point, she has sustained the advantage of 1 over Kim Soo-ji. This is where things went off the rails for Bak Ji-young. 4th hole, it would end up being a quad. Here's how she got there. Missing the green altogether, finding the cart path, and going all the way down off the back into the trees. When she was finally able to maneuver her way back, penalties and 2-yard strokes here and there. Well, that would have been for a triple, but it was not to be. Ended up being a quadruple bogey, and she has just been battling to get back since. Some more good short game play. They leave Kim Min-byul with just a few feet for a birdie. She would go up and down from it. And one of the big ups, one of the big moments, one had been at 13. The final birdie she has carded. She goes all the way to the 18th. This was on 17 for her par. Able to roll it in. So as it stands, with just 1 hole to play for her on the day, the letter E beside her score just reinforces how well she had shot yesterday. Kim Soo-ji and Lee So-mi above her. Well, they equaled that mark today in round number 2. Lee Se-hee, Shohei Lim, both at 1 under 71s, with 18 players under par at the minute. Im Jin-hee still has plenty of time to push closer to that top 5. 1 under through 11 is her score for the tournament thus far. We also have Hong Ji-won towards the end of her round. She is 3 over with just 2 remaining. Chung Sul-gi was 72 yesterday. She is on pace for a 73 today. She has just a few holes remaining. Well, it is shaping up to be a shootout tomorrow with Lee So-mi, Kim Soo-ji, and Kim Min-byul. Whether it'll be 7-6-5 or 7-6-4, the scores under par is to be determined. But we will obviously have that updated leaderboard when we rejoin you tomorrow. This is where we will say goodbye for our moving day Saturday. A reminder, the final rounds begin 1 hour earlier than we have started our broadcast through this Friday and Saturday session. So that means we will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. local time. For SBS Golf and Spot Cruise, I've been Adam Jenkins saying thanks for joining us, and so long from the Kayak Country Club here for the 10th edition of the Nexen SaintNine Masters.